Yeah. Wounds unspoken, they weigh you down like shadows stretching across the town. But the light is there, it's calling your name. Break the chains, don't play the same game. Breathe it in, let the pain unwind. Exhale slow, leave the past behind. You are H.E.R, you are free. Healed, empowered, reborn to be. Feel the rhythm, let it flow.
Hello, welcome back. I'm H.E.R. Welcome to H.E.R and You, Her Journey to Freedom, my YouTube channel. This is my second video. I'm going to share a little bit more about my journey to freedom. I've always wanted to write and build community. I don't know if it's because I'm an only child, but I loved building relationships with people that I really connect with. Truth be told, I am very cautious about my friendships and my relationships. In elementary school, I wrote a play. Yes, a play. It was an assignment for English. My teacher, God bless her, Miss Johnson, she made me feel really good about my writing skills. I wasn't great at math, but I was pretty good in English. I have a British mom who made sure. I don't remember the name of the play. I don't remember what the play was about, but I remember the feeling and the pride that I had in writing that piece of material. I would go back from time to time and visit with her, and she was still using that play as an example for her class, which was really nice for me and a confidence booster that I was good at writing. In high school, I started journaling as an assignment in an English class. And that is where my love for writing came, my love for getting it out of my head and getting it down on the paper. That is where it really thrived for me. Journaling helped me cope with things that I wasn't able to say out loud. And I journaled pretty much daily from high school till I became a parent. And then somehow while parenting, I let journaling go. It just didn't fit. I would still write notes and do to-do lists. And I found ways of jotting down notes, but I wasn't really consistent in daily. And it's too bad because there was things going on in my life that I wish that I had written down so that I would be clearer and being able to share those stories, because it was a lot. Love and marriage, children, buying a house, all the things before being a parent. And after high school, and I was writing in the 90s, I was in my 20s. This is before the internet. I would find sayings or poems, anything I would find in books. We had computers, but this was in the mid 90s. I don't know how I got a hold of these poems and printouts, and maybe they were things that were sent to me and then I would print them out. I would collect them monthly. I would get them together and I would take them to work and I would make copies and I would use their envelopes and put these packets together that would eventually become like newsletters. Like, I didn't write about my life and stuff that was going through, but I would collect all these poems and I'd mail them to my loved ones, my friends and family. I really liked doing that. When I learned something, I liked teaching it to someone else. I wasn't thinking about building communities or anything like this. And then eventually I would open a daycare, and the daycare moms and I start book clubs and stuff like that. And we go out with the kids, and sometimes we go out without the kids and just, shake it off. In college, I studied linguistics, and I think studying linguistics changed my life too. Learning the meaning of words and the origin behind words was really interesting to me. Still is. I am a collector of quotes. I like the written word. I plan on getting into better reading habit. So I want to talk about milestones in midlife. In 2013, my first grandchild was born. You know, the grandbabies are everything. She's my first grandbaby, and I had a dream about her before she was conceived. I met this child in a dream, and we were in love, and we're still in love. When she was born, I had a different outlook on life, and I knew that she was everything. And I wanted to be a healthy person, and I wanted to be an alive person. So in 2013, I quit smoking cigarettes. I started in high school. When my granddaughter came along, I quit smoking for good. And I have been smoke free ever since. So that was a major milestone. In 2016, I closed my daycare and I went back to school to get my associate's degree. In 2018, I graduated when my daughter graduated from high school, and I became an empty nester. My husband and I raised 4 children together, one of mine, one of his, and then we fostered 2 additional children. As each of the kids left, it was kind of its own entity, right? But when the last one left, it hit me hard. It hit me harder than all the other kids leaving. Maybe because also it was a little sudden and unexpected. Things just changed kind of abruptly. And I had to get a grip. Like, you see it coming, but you don't. My daughter graduates from high school. She starts community college. And then she moves out kind of suddenly. No argument. Nothing bad happened. She just left. She was ready to move on, but it shook me. I was shook. And it took me some time between her leaving and me graduating from school and not knowing what I wanted to do next. I knew I didn't want to go back into daycare. I knew I didn't want to be a business owner for a little while. I just was kind of over being the boss of everything. I was CEO of my home. That was enough for me. I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared mentally for the way it went down, and I wasn't prepared for how I was going to feel when it happened. So, needless to say, if you've already experienced trauma in your life, sometimes there's already a dysregulation within you from childhood trauma. And then as you get older, you like put all that stuff aside so you can try to be a functioning human being. And I did that to the best of my ability. And then this last child left. And because I wasn't ready, I think that I was a little bit lost. I was just lost. And it changed things. It took me years to learn how to cook for 2 people. And it was different for me. I've been parenting from like my 30s now until it was different for me. I wasn't ready, but it was much more than that. And we'll maybe get into that some other time. Anyway, 2018 was a significant time in my midlife, and I had to transition from being a full-on parent to an empty nester. In 2020, I got the vid. There was no vax yet, and I got it bad. And at the time, I was nannying while I went back to school in 2019. I took a job as a nanny. It gave me something to do because in 2016, I closed my daycare of 16 years. Again, 2020, I got really sick. And I mean, sick, y'all. My nails turned blue from a lack of oxygen. I had double pneumonia. It was crazy. And I told you I had that experience where I was laying there. Pretty much, I felt like I was dying. And I had this experience with the all, and it changed me to my core. It felt like a culmination of everything in my life coming with a spotlight on me, about me, and about what my life was really about and not about. It wasn't about my kids. It wasn't about my husband. It wasn't about home ownership. It wasn't about business ownership. It wasn't about my parents. It was about me. It was about me getting in touch with me, clarity with me. I never thought about wellness and well-being before that. Human beings, we're always thinking about weight and stuff like that. But I wasn't thinking about my own well-being. I wasn't thinking about who I was. 2020, something else happened. A terrible thing happened to a man, and we all watched him die publicly. I know you know what I'm talking about. That was maybe the first thing, is what happened to George Floyd. That changed something in me that had already been rocked. My nervous system, that shook me, because as you get to know me, you'll know I'm a person that loves her people. I'm very in touch and in tune, being firstborn American, being raised by immigrants who were colonized and enslaved. That unaliving shook me to my core. I am a woman who has a Black male child, who has a Black husband, who had a Black father, who has Black uncles and cousins. And that day, I watched somebody unalive somebody that looked like them. And it is not new news. And more would happen after that, and more had happened before that. But that was pretty tragic. And it shook me. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that. In 2020, changed me enough to make me want to leave this country and start a plan on how I was going to live. And with that being said, I changed my name. It was that significant. I changed my name, not because that happened, because I was so trauma filled with everything that happened in my life up until that point. I just did not associate with that name anymore as time was going by. It was just one of many things that influenced me change my name. And one day maybe we'll get into that. So that happened. I changed my name. I got sick. I had the experience that changed my entire life. 2020 was nuts, but it was the beginning of my rebirth. It's when I started figuring out how much my life needed to change, how unhappy I was with how things were. After being divorced in the early 2000s, I remarried, and I was like, this isn't going to work if I don't do something with myself. The very first thing that I started doing was breath work back in 2018 to start regulating my nervous system. And the next thing I got into was meditating and Reiki healing. And that's when I was just trying to regulate my nervous system. I don't even think I thought about it as regulating my nervous system. I just knew that I was overly shook and I needed to get my shit together. When I was sick, laying in the bed, feeling like I was succumbing to that illness, I remember being able to slow my breathing into a deep meditative state. And I remember thinking, this is the only way I can live. I couldn't have a conversation anymore. My breathing was shallow. My breathing was barely there. I was struggling for oxygen. And at the time, honey, people were going into the hospital. They weren't coming out. My doctor was like, no, you stay at home. I was on a lot of antibiotics. Later, I found out that they were for pneumonia. Yeah, that was just the worst I ever felt. But also, right at this peak moment was this experience that I had that turned out to be like the best moment, because it's the moment where I was like, oh, I want to live. I want to live because I get it now. I get what life is. It's like this experience I had. I'm telling you, it was like dying and being reborn, but I never lost consciousness. That experience was so mind blowing. It was life changing. I got better a little bit at a time. My brain chemistry felt like it was different. I knew there was work that I needed to be done. I knew that there was more I needed to know about myself. So I started getting into self awareness, and I started a self discovery journey. The very next year, after a lot of contemplating, I found a all women's coaching program that was accredited, and I joined the Inner Glow circle. That was really transformative for me. I went through the 6-month coaching program. What I ended up learning in that program is that there was a lot of work I wanted to do for myself before I got heavily into helping other people. And even though I've coached from time to time, I don't coach on a regular basis just yet. I wanted to do the work for myself and with myself. It is new. I needed to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. So that's when I started her journey to freedom. It was always going to be the name of my coaching practice, but breaking it down to what the mission was, what the offer was, and the contribution was, took all these years from 2021 through 2025. During that time, I coached a little bit on the side and I took more courses. In 2023, I quit my last corporate job. I'm done with corporate America. We'll talk about that some other time as well. I freed myself from that. I saved money and I left. And so for me, that was bye-bye Miss American Pie. I was done with that system. No more corporate for me. I started a weight loss journey in January 2025, and I'm down 38 pounds and wrote the Becoming Her ebook. Right now, the book is being tested with beta readers. It's awaiting beta reader feedback. Then it will go on for final editing, and then it'll have its final revision, and hopefully it will make it to be published by my birthday, which is why it's important for me to do these videos now. Okay, so 2026, the plan is this: I will be here more regularly. I will get a good understanding of what this is really like and be able to share here more and be able to be of value to you, because I will find out what it is that you would like and what I have to offer. We'll talk about what I have planned for this channel, but what I overall have planned for the H.E.R brand, because Becoming Her is just the book, but being her is everything, right? Becoming healed, becoming empowered, becoming a reborn person, woman, mature Black woman is really what this channel is about, is really what my life is about. I love us. I love Black people. And I just feel like a lot of times that we just haven't gotten the best shot at being the best us. There's been a lot of tragedy and there's a lot of scars behind having to be us. And I think it's time for that to come to a close with that being our legacy. We're not giving it to our children anymore. We're going to teach them by being a new us. We're breaking generational curses, as they say. And I'm doing that by the way that I live, not the way that I talk. So again, it took me all these years to have these conversations with people because I didn't want to just talk the talk. I wanted to be able to walk this walk and have it aligned. Like when you learn chakras, you learn that the first chakra is the root chakra. If your root chakra is fucked up, you can forget about the rest of them. You got the root, you got the sacral, you got the solar plexus, you got the heart, you got the throat, you have the third eye, and you have your crown chakra. And if you don't get it together with that root, you can forget all the other stuff. So the thing about launching her for 2026, I want to not only launch her, this is about thriving. This is about me supporting you thriving. This is about travel. If I learned anything during my self-discovery journey, my health journey, my freedom journey, I have learned that we have got to get out of where we are. We have got to see parts of the world, and you can choose what those parts of the world. I will share with you my wellness travel. I travel for wellness. I have a little saying that I like to say, my plans are always to travel to warm places where there are brown people. One day I want to retire in a warm place with brown people. This year is really about my schedule and committing to her on a regular basis, which means committing to you all on a regular basis, committing to my health journey, committed to my travel journey, and to my family, making sure that I'm in alignment with those things, alignment with my family structure, alignment with my grandchildren, my husband, my parents, my grandparents, my grandmother. She's 99 years old, and I take care of her once a week on Mondays. And spending time with her is everything, because if you get a grandparent that lives over 80 years old, it's amazing what you get to learn about yourself and them. So the last thing I want to talk about was the pillars of my H.E.R framework. The pillars for freedom. The H.E.R pillars for freedom are as follows. This is how we heal. This is how we become empowered. This is how we become reborn. Number 1, self-discovery. Number 2, self-awareness. Number 3, mindful living. Number 4, holistic well-being. Number 5, personal growth. Number 6, life transitions. Number 7, the bonus pillar, the rebirth. Embracing the journey to freedom. There's 6 really, but there's a bonus pillar, which is the 7th. And this is pretty much what my channel is about and what we will focus on, which is pretty vast, right? I mean, it's life, right? And when you hit midlife like us and you become a mature woman, our focus becomes different. Personally, I'm not focusing on gaining a career in corporate America. I've been there and done that. I am not focusing on getting married because I've done that. If you are, then maybe some of this stuff can help you. I'm a grandparent at this age. Spending time with them and being here for them is super important, because when grandma and grandpa are living abroad, they need to know how to travel so that they can get to us and we can get back to them. But we'll talk about that too. Because for me, part of mindful living and life transitions, that has a lot to do with the travel part of my life. I thank you for sticking with me until the end of this video, because if you are hearing this, then you have. If you've made it this far, stick a little butterfly in the comment section so that I know that you stayed until the end of this video. Thanks for stopping by. If you think this could be your vibe, go ahead and subscribe if you feel the feels to do so. And if you want to hear more about her journey to freedom and how you can be a part of this movement, comment, subscribe, and I can't wait to connect with you. That's my dog. I don't know if you guys can hear her. We'll talk about them too. But I love you. Bye.
Wounds unspoken, they weigh you down like shadows stretching across the town. But the light is there, it's calling your name. Break the chains, don't play the same game. Breathe it in, let the pain unwind. Exhale slow, leave the past behind. You are H.E.R, you are free. Healed, empowered, reborn to be. Feel the rhythm, let it flow. This is your time now, let